Hi, everybody. Okay, all right. I'll do better, sorry. I'm David. This is, why don't everybody introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Mollie.
Hi, I'm Jess.
Nova.
We all met each other playing pinball here in DC at a bar called Lyman's Tavern, where we now play. Hey, a lot of people know Lyman's. We play in a league. We play in tournaments that happen usually a couple times a month. League is like an 8 or 9, 10 week affair where you just show up every week and we get to play together. I encourage everyone to look for a local league. They're usually very welcoming to new players. Competitive pinball is growing really fast. When I first started playing about 10 years ago, there were only 20-ish thousand people worldwide registered to play. We're now at about, I think, 130,000. So it's really growing fast. And a lot of that growth has just been in the past probably 5 years. So what I want to do with this panel is just kind of open up pinball. I know everyone loves to play them, but some of the first, nothing's a mistake, where it's all a learning experience, but the first thing that everybody does is hit both flippers at the same time, right? And actually that can be not advantageous, because it can cause the ball to just drain easier when both flippers are up. You may have had a bounce. So we're going to demonstrate some flipper skills, because there are a lot of techniques. And then once we talk about those flipper skills, we're going to play through a game. Some of us are going to kind of talk while we're playing about why we're making shots we're making, or what exactly we're doing with the ball and why. And just to show you, give you some of that extra skill you need to, up your game. If you see any of us down playing pinball, I brought, 35 pinball machines down there. So if you see me working on them, I like playing, so I'll play with you. Just ask me, David. And yeah, we love playing. Yeah. Does anyone want to share any socials or anything? I don't really have a lot of social media that I'm active on. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Mollie again. I'm the co-commissioner of the DC Pinball League. I've been running it for 7 years now. I just wanted to give it a shout out because it's how I met these wonderful people along with so many others. Just a really great way for you to be social and meet new people in this super niche hobby, but also, have fun competing. And it's really not about competing with others, it's about competing with yourself in the end, and that's what really draws me to the sport. I hope that resonates with some of you too. To check us out, we're at lymanstavern.dc.com/pinball. Thank you. Oh, question?
Do you know the name of it? I'm not good with neighborhood names.
Vuk?
Oh, Vuk?
Yeah.
No, but we do know them. It's as large as the pinball community is, it's a very small community. Mm-hmm. So I do know them. Fun fact, if you're from this area, Mom's Organic Market is owned by this guy named Scott Nash. And he got he's got money from Mom's, so he's a huge pinball nerd like us. So at first, he had a collection at home of about 10 or 12 pinball machines. Sorry, I'm getting closer. He had about 10 or 12 pinball machines at home, and he was like, you know what? I want more pinball in this area. So he actually opened a location named Vuk in Bethesda, but that location was slated, when he moved in, it was slated for demolition. So he was only planning to be there for about a year. It lasted more years than that, 3 or 5 something. But finally, they had to move out. So then they opened in a Mom's Organic Market up in College Park or something. They put 40 pinball machines in a grocery store, and it was awesome. But then an urgent care clinic moved in next door and needed to expand, so they decided to close the pinball part of that grocery store, and they moved to now a mall in Friendship Heights. And so it's called Vuk again. And just as a fun fact, VOOK is a word from the pinball world, and it stands for vertical up kicker. So whenever you see a mechanism that's in a pinball where like the ball goes down into a hole and then it gets shot straight up and like redirected somewhere, that's called a VOOK, vertical up kicker, and so they've named their pinball place VOOK, which is fun. So I'm not associated with that, but we know each other. There are.
They also just started their weekly league, but I don't think it's too late to join. I'm sure if you look on their socials, there's more information. Yeah.
It is. Yep. Yeah, a lot of classics. I haven't been to the new location, but I know like it's the same operation that's just been moving, so they're very attentive to problems. They try to keep all their machines in great condition, and they don't just put new machine like the newest machines and only the newest in all the time. So, which is really great. They do also, and they got the space, which is hard in DC. So, when I met the owners of Lyman's, opened 10 years ago this past year. We started with 4 pinball machines, and the first couple weekends there were lines 10 or 15 people long at each pinball machine, and people were waiting way too long, and we were like, okay, this isn't sustainable. No one's going to want to show up and have to wait 30 minutes to play a pinball machine. And so we slowly started adding machines, and we're up to 11 machines at Lyman's. But it's literally like the last machine is up against a table that's drilled into the wall. So we can't fit anymore. But space. It's in DC is just like a premium, and it's hard to find space, especially for pinball. They're big, they're bulky, and it takes a lot to keep them running. So. But anyway, yeah, I know of that place. It's awesome. I recommend it. And I also recommend Lyman's, an Atlas Brewery. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and plug something that I'm not a part of, but it's pinballmap.com. They also have an app called Pinball Map. Wherever you are, you can hit your location, and it'll pull up like bars or anything around you. And the amazing thing is it's all community driven and incredibly accurate. We all just love knowing where the machines are, how well they're maintained. So usually if a rotation happens and someone puts a new machine in, it gets updated pretty quick. So I would check that out, pinballmap.com or the app. Yeah, exactly. So, and you can, just use it anywhere you travel. You're like, let's see where some pinball is. A lot of places, if they have pinball, that means they're going to be pretty cool. Anything else before I'm going to jump on Paragon if anyone else has anything to say? So I'm going to start on Paragon. We're not going to play full games. It's just an old game like Paragon and that era. So this is about 1980s. Older games previous to like the early to mid 90s are all about bonus. So you're playing your whole ball and the score isn't going up much, but you're building a bonus that when the ball drains, you're going to collect. So the older games, it's especially important not to tilt it. Tilting is shaking the machine so hard that it gets angry and yells at you and erases your bonus, stops the ball, and you lose the rest of that ball and have to start on your next ball. So on Paragon, for instance, you can get a 5x bonus by hitting the drop targets. You can get up to like 40,000 of bonus, so 40,000 times 5, you can have that. But at the end of when you first drain your ball, you may only have 10,000 points, but you've got all this bonus built up. So if you tilt, then the next person who doesn't tilt is gonna like win because they didn't tilt away their bonus. The other thing is there's a technique called a tap pass that I'm gonna show you. I may actually zoom in on this so you guys maybe can see the flippers, because all I'm really gonna do is try to tap pass. That's not the right button. And tap passing is on the flipper switch. The actual voltage for the flipper goes through the switch, so you can like gently tap the flipper button, like a feather tap. That's gonna work. Sweet. Sorry, it's a little crooked. I'll fix it when I get over there. You kind of like feather tap the flipper, and it's sent as the ball's rolling, it'll send it over the other flipper. I'm going to illustrate now. This is part of the control, that if you learn the control, it makes everything else so much easier in the game. Because the number one rule in most pinball, I'll use the non-adult version of saying this. Shoot the flashing thing. If it's flashing, it's worth something. Then as you play, you learn which flashy thing is worth more than the other flashy thing. But shoot the flashy thing. So I'm going to project really well from that machine over there. But once I show you a couple times, like some tap passing, then we'll all start a game on Elvira, and we'll just play through. I'll start as the first player, and I'll show you some flipper techniques and just tell you what they are, and how we go. So, give me a second. No, I'm just going to yell if I need to say something. Okay.
I want to note here that this does not work on every machine. This is not, even if you're playing a Paragon, it might be a different Paragon and it plays differently and needs a different touch. So this is a very difficult skill that you're watching right now.
But it's fun when you're at a show like this, is everything's free and you can test things, but, and be terrible. So yeah, it's just a way of transferring, getting the ball on the right flipper that you need. And so when you first walk up to any game, especially even in like a tournament, a lot of people will test the flippers and they'll just walk up and just do this and see where it is that they have to tap the flipper, like okay, how hard or how light, so I can just so I keep tapping and trying to get it to the other side. Because you can see I'm getting like a little bit of a twitch on this one, but like this one I'm using just about as much effort, but I'm getting more, right? So it just depends on the machine. It's true. Some of them it's harder. You have to hit the flipper harder, which makes tap passing harder. But this is the main reason I want to bring this machine up here, so you can see. And then here's the one. You just bounce it over. That's a dead bounce right there, so sometimes the thing to do is not flip, like that. And then I need you on this side, so we're over here. Because like that's the bonus part. So that's tap passing. We cannot tap pass on Elvira. It's just not possible. But we're going to show you can do a lot more flipper techniques on this machine. So I'm going to move this over. Give me 1 second. So you can see it. Okay. We're gonna reset this thing.
Does anyone have any questions while we set up?
Okay.
That's a great question.
So, on a machine like Elvira, they're more digital. What makes that happen is the computer in Elvira is looking for an optic like a switch. It's just looking at a switch that's on the cabinet. That's the flipper button switch. So the computer is just looking for that switch to get hit. Once it gets hit, it's like, okay, and it tells this other part, hey, send voltage. It sends it, it tells a transistor, send voltage to the flipper coil. And so it sends the voltage into the flipper coil, which is an electromagnet, and it pulls a metal plunger underneath, and that's what makes the flipper flip. So it is digital, and that's why you can't do what I was just doing. The tap pass is because I'm only allowing a little bit of current to pass through the flipper switch to the flipper coil. So I can limit the current by just barely touching the contacts. Whereas Elvira, it's just like switch on or off, cool, coil on or off. So I can't affect the current. And a digital operation like that started in around the 90s, mid to late 80s maybe. But so Elvira is 100% digital. Yeah. There are places. Repeat the question. Thank you. I love that sign. There's a repeat the question sign in the back. That was great. The question was, do you need an encyclopedic knowledge of each machine, or are there resources online or things like that? There are a lot of resources online. There's things called like Pinball Done Quick. That's a video of a lot of different videos of how to play certain machines. Again, when you're first starting and walking up to any machine you don't know, there's two different ways of learning, I think. So on Elvira, there's some people who can respond to this, what I'm about to say. I can't, I'm not one of the people. But they say, okay, plunge the ball, get it on your right flipper, get the window to the third window on the left, and then flip from the right flipper up the center. And then once it starts that mode, hit the left ramp, and then the right ramp, and then the left orbit, and then you get this super jet. Who's lost? I'm lost, right? I can't learn like that. So because also the other thing is, if I don't know a machine, and I walk up and someone's like, okay, hit the left inner orbit that's right below the upper ramp before the diverter, and I'm like, I don't even know where that is. Let me play that. So my way of learning is I'm going to play the game a bunch, see what I can maybe pick up, and then maybe someone can tell me like how to play a mode or start a certain special multi-ball. Encyclopedic knowledge is possible. A lot of people have it. I know a lot of people in the pinball world who just watch videos all the time on how to play. Almost every machine out there has like a tutorial of how to play it type thing. There's also resources people have put together written out of like, hey, if you're playing in a tournament, ignore everything else except this. Shoot these things on this machine. So there are a lot of online resources, but I don't think if you can get your flipper skills down, you can walk up to any game. Because the important thing is what? Don't drain. So basically what it comes down to is some machines will punish you for missing your shot. Right, so especially like Ghostbusters down there is mean. Tron is mean, but I like mean machines because you like learn from it. And then once you do well, you're like, yes, finally. But you just gotta like walk up. If you don't brick your shot, if you make the ramp, cool. If you hit the post right next to the ramp, drain. Right, so. Just if you get your flipper skills down, concentrate on that. And also to go back to what Mollie said earlier, like try to play against yourself. Even if you're playing with other people, you're playing in a tournament, like I'm going to do the best like version of what I can do. So if I can get 10 million points on Elvira, then my next game I'm going to try to do 11 million points. If the person I'm playing with just got 150 million points, I'm going to try to get 11 million points. Like, cool if I can beat them, but like it can get discouraging if you're just like, I can't get to this person. It's like, have patience. It gets there. I've been playing for 10 years. There's people who've been playing for 30 years. I might be better than them. Someone who's only been playing. The number one person in the world right now is like 19 years old. Like, so, and I'm never going to be as good as them, and that's okay. But they have that encyclopedic knowledge, but they also play in major tournaments like every other week. So there are a lot of resources online.
Just to add to that too, if you're a beginner and you're kind of like, you don't want to watch a 3-hour YouTube video on how to play one machine, some really great tips is most machines on the bottom left corner of the machine kind of gives you the highlights of what you're aiming for. And then as you're playing, any call out, so any of the audio that you're getting, any of the graphics that you're getting, especially on the newer machines like Elvira, give you so many tips on where to go and what to do. So kind of let the machine guide you as to what you should be doing.
Yeah, there's some machines that are more advanced than others on code. So, but like those cards will give you like, here's how to start a multi-ball.
Right.
Does Elvira have 7 different multi-balls? Yes. But it only talks about 1 on the card. So those are the things to learn as you go. Yeah, in the middle. Yeah. A dead flip? I don't. Did I last year? I think I did. But I actually, I promise I'm gonna be doing on. Hopefully, I can have some good games here. You're gonna see dead flips a lot, and I'm gonna call it out. Dead flip, backhand, live catch, post pass. There's a lot, but not that many. But anyway, so you will see them, and I will call them out. I remember that I had those animations, but I don't know where they went. So I was like, I'm gonna do it live. Instead of like an animation, but hopefully everybody can see this okay. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take advantage of some screen space. Jess or Nova, do you have anything you'd like to add while I add another thing here? Is there any other questions? Oh, someone in the back with glasses. Hi. So there, the question was there, we were talking about flippers, different types of flippers. The older the machine gets, are the techniques the same as you start getting back there in age on the machine? And the answer is mostly they're the same as Paragon. Up until the 80s, the flipper technology was pretty much the same. It was voltage going through a switch and then the coil, and that was just the common way of doing it. Fun fact, they still called it, it started as pinball, but it was basically like, if everyone's familiar with pachinko, it's very similar to that. It was in the 1930s and 40s. It was a big board with pins and holes, and all you did was plunge the ball, and it was basically a bingo machine. The first pinball machine actually had 6 flippers, 3 on the left and 3 on the right, because they didn't know what to do with them. The next one that had flippers, maybe not very next, but soon after that, the next one that had flippers had 2 flippers, but they were in the middle. So once the ball got past it, you were back into the pinball luck thing. And then in Prohibition, they started burning pinball machines because they were like, they're gambling and they're just ruining our society. Fun fact. And I'm pretty sure that some states still have technically they're illegal in some states. Add existing. So that's fun. Are there any other questions? I just need one more second to do this. We can take a few more. On the left in the flannel. Paragon doesn't use many relays. It is what's called a solid state machine. So there's a circuit board in the back that's running things. They do still make coils that run relays in electromechanical machines. The number one way to tell if a machine is electromechanical, which means it was made in like the 50s or 60s or earlier, is that your scores are on reels. They're round and they just like spin backwards. Other than one game, which is down in like the tournament area called PBR, that's made to look old, but it's actually new. So that's an electromechanical machine. Electromechanical means that there are no computers. So if you're playing a 4-player game, like everything's done just by about 1,500 switches. That if you get one dirty, it just throws a wrench in the whole thing. It's ridiculous. I need one more second. So is there any other questions?
Yeah, in the middle in the beanie. The out lanes.
Sure, we're going to show some of that. We call it, oh, you guys can talk about it. It's called nudging.
Yeah, you'll personally see me do it too much. It's the only other skill aside from like flipper technique that is widely used. It's called nudging. Basically, it's tilting but not tilting. You're trying to get the machine moving manually using your own force without moving it too much so that the machine shuts down. And the way the tilt bob works is actually super neat too. It's literally like a stick exactly in like a ring, and if it touches that ring from too much movement, the machine shuts down. So every machine, again, has different sensitivity levels. Operators like David can set them to different sensitivity levels as well. You can even like take the tilt bob out so it has no tilt. My favorite. But they're basically there for you to not pick up the machine and shake it around. But it is an art to nudging, which I know we all nudge. Yeah.
The question was, how much is a pinball machine? Oh, how much do they weigh?
Anywhere from 300 to, I don't know, what's the upper end? 450? Yeah. So about 300 to 450 pounds.
Yeah, that's a great question. Nudging is fine. That is a skill. There are ways if you are like fury nudging or like, attempting to really hurt the machine, that's just disrespectful. I know they didn't ask how much pinball machines are, but they are expensive. They're works of art. You should treat them with respect. But nudging is still respectful as long as you're not, aiming to hurt the machine, and it's really to try to save the ball.
And there's another device in a lot of pinball machines called a slam tilt mechanism, where if you pick the machine up and drop it, your game is done. You receive no points. You get nothing, and that's when it says no. You have to stop. If you just tilt in like a regular game, you still get the remainder of the balls.
Okay. Ooh. We're going to start playing. Why don't you come on down? Okay. I tried to add lights so we can get rid of this washed out thing. It's one of the hardest parts about pinball when you're trying to stream or something like that is an overhead light can wreak havoc on being able to see things. Well, if we, we'll see. Yeah, you can see a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Man, I wish I had a floor mic. Okay. So, first thing on a pinball machine is the start button. It usually is flashing green on a new game, and it can be any flashing, but it's somewhere on the front of the machine. And a lot of games, most games, will let you play 4 players. So if you want to add 4 players, you press the start button 4 times. Okay, so this is Elvira's House of Horrors. It's actually the 3rd Elvira pinball machine that the world has ever made. So she's in very small company. There's not a lot of actors, actresses, or people who are in pinball, well, more than once, and she's got 3. This came out a couple years ago. I don't know, five-ish years ago. I also had her sign it, so it's really cool. So yeah, it's a fun game. What we're going to do is we're going to help Elvira scare the B movie creatures out of her house so she can sell it. So you can't, our camera's a little off, but no, I'm not going to mess with it. There's a house in the back with windows, and the lights are flashing in the window. Each window is associated with a different mode. Modes have been in pinball since 1990-something, 92, I think. The very first pinball machine with a mode is Addams Family, made by Bally. And it was the highest-selling pinball of all time to this day. They sold so many that they came out with a gold edition, so there's like some gold trim and like fake gold. So it's the number one, and we always want them to remake it, but it's hard to get all the people to sign off on putting their likenesses in it. But great game. Anyway, so we're gonna go for some modes in this game. That's the other thing we talked about. Look at the piece of paper on the side. It talks about how to do. Yeah, I know. Okay. So you look at the card. It tells you how to do it. What we're gonna do is I am gonna move this a little bit. Okay, I think we kind of got it. I'm gonna point on here. Okay. So we talked about shoot the flashing thing, right? So we don't have too many lights here to distract us, which is good. But our main one is this pulsing one in the middle. That's our mode. So when that is pulsing like that, it means that your mode is ready. You just have to shoot up the middle, and we're gonna start something. There's also a secret skill shot, which is the back door of the house. You shoot it up there, and it'll automatically start, which is fun because then you don't have to try to get it up. The flippers will change the light from the different windows, so you can actually select which mode you want. If you ever memorize, hey, the upper left window is the brain that wouldn't die, or whatever. So we're just going to shoot into the thing, and I'm going to show you some flipper skills along the way. And I'm going to talk really loud so you can hear me. I'm going to turn down Elvira so then you can hear me easier. Okay. Are you? Thanks, and I'll hold it for you. We're gonna turn it down a little bit. All right, come on, let's get this show on the road. Okay.
Where do you want me to hold it so I'm not in your view?
Oh, you're not gonna be in my view. I'll try to talk really loud though. It's good. Okay, here we go. First one I'm going to demonstrate is called a live catch. So these outside shots are called orbits, and the reason they're called that is because it sends the ball, it goes around an orbit and comes back around, so it's an orbit shot if someone says that. There's ramps, there's 2 ramps, or 3 ramps rather, the left ramp, center ramp, right ramp. This is called a crypt. There's a lock shot. Most pinball, if it has a multi-ball, the lock shot is green. So if you see a green light, shoot it there, and eventually you'll get to a multi-ball. So I'm gonna do what's called a short plunge, and it's because if I pull the plunger all the way back, it's gonna send the ball up all the way around, and then I have to try to control it. If I do a short plunge, it'll just come right back down, and we're gonna try a live catch. And it's where the ball's coming down, and the flipper's gonna hit it right at the right stop, and hopefully just stop the ball in its tracks. All right, here we go. It's coming down. Hey! Thank you. The reason, again, for this is there's 2 ways to play. There's trapping up and kind of controlled play. All forms of play are control play. But there are people that are really good at flailing, so they're just hitting it on the fly, but they're nailing their shots, and I'm totally jealous of those people. But this flipper skill helps you get under control. So I'm trapped up. I need my center shot, so hopefully we're gonna send it up right up the middle, and we're gonna play the brain that wouldn't die. There we go. So we got some time. They're gonna play some scenes, and then now you can see. You can barely see. Dang. We have pink shots that are here, 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 and there's a white shot there. So the idea is to hit the flashing shot, right? And this is hopefully another thing, live catch. There we go. What's that? Oh, yeah, so you can see better. We're going to deal with that next year. We'll put a curtain up or something. So I know that this is the garage of the house. That's our lock shot. The white arrow will advance our mode. So if I shoot that, I can start locking balls in there and get and go for the multi-ball. So let's do that. Nope, not okay. So I'm trying for that control again. Drop catch. Okay, so that's called a drop catch. When the ball's coming at your flipper, you let the flipper go right at the right time. So it's like cradling the pinball when it lands there. And then we're going to shoot it into the garage and hopefully get our multi-ball locks. Oh. Not that. Okay, so, and then there, and we'll do it some more. There's a... okay, so there were a couple different things there. There was a dead flip. Dead flip is the hardest one because your instincts are to flip right at the ball whenever it's near your flipper. And it's when you just let the ball come down at the flipper and it bounces over to the other one. So we did that. We did a slap save. That's where you hit the flipper and you're smacking the machine a little bit. It's not really showing the movement, but the machine's moving over because I'm trying to get like the tip of the flipper to touch the ball. So let's see if we can actually lock some balls here. All right, there's one. Now see, because I want to keep locking balls, if I keep short plunging and maybe keep live catching and maybe keep shooting that, I can just get my multi-ball right away here. So almost, no. Oh, get in there by accident. Oh. Okay, so that was another slap save, right? It's loud and fun, and so we'll send that up there. Now, the other thing to pay attention to, especially in this game, modes will time out, but modes are also where you get a lot of your points. Multi-ball, we're going to get a lot of points too, but I only have 6 seconds to make my shot, but because I locked the ball, I've got the ball in my plunger lane, the timer is paused right now, so I have 6 seconds to get the ball up the center or my mode's going to time out. One of the best ways in modern pinball to get points is to have a mode and a multi-ball at the same time, so everything's worth more points. So hopefully we'll slap save, right? Do our little short plunge, slap save, center shot, get the ball back, lock shot, start multi-ball. We'll see. We're going to try. So up the middle. We're going to slap save again, kind of, and up there we go. Okay, so we're going to start a multi-ball. So now the red shots are my multi-ball. Red shots are almost always jackpots in multi-ball. And then my pink shots are still lit, so if I can hit those at the same time, also if I can trap up all of these, we can get some control here. Whoop. Uh-oh, it's angry at me. I got a tilt warning. Okay, so we trap up all our balls. Okay, so now I can like get a little more control, and I don't have to worry if the ball save goes out. This center light is about to go out. It's out right between the flippers. That means I don't have a ball save anymore. Now I'm going to do a backhand because the easiest way for me to get points is to try to hit this left ramp and then the right ramp and then maybe the left ramp and just keep going back and forth in this mode. So we're going to hit a backhand shot. Backhand means that I'm going to hit if I'm on the left-hand flipper, I'm going to hit a left-hand shot, like left side of the play field. Right flipper, right side. So here we go. We're going to try without breaking things. It almost went up. It almost. We'll get it. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to try for the right ramp. And we're going to for the left ramp. Nope. We're going to try. We're also going to try to get some of these jackpots going. We're just going to keep hitting these points. Oh, we lost our ball. But that's okay. We're going to keep this mode is actually just because I know it. Nope. Oh, and I tilted out. Boo. Okay. We're going to. Would you like to play next? So we're just going to keep playing, and if you guys want to talk about what you're doing, I could also talk about what you're doing. You mean to narrate? I can narrate. All right, we're going to watch Nova play. So we're going to look for some of the flipper techniques that we talked about. It's again we're back in the when you shake them, when you kind of nudge the machine to try to save the ball. See, that was kind of a drop catch. It sends the ball back up. It gives you a second to breathe and see where you want to go. we're starting a mode again. This one is Night of the Living Dead. And so what you want to do is, if you can, the screen will tell you what you're supposed to shoot at. So this one is saying, once it kind of shows us, I think our tilt is a little sensitive because we just tilted again. I know, it's like, who owns these things? Who's next? Yeah, I think at the beginning of my ball, we'll get in there and cheat and loosen the tilt a little bit. It's probably also because it's not level. If the machine's a little out of level, the plumb bob is not centered in that circle. Do you want to talk about what you're doing? I can talk about what you're doing. Okay, so she went up the center again, right? And we're going to start a mode. We're playing the Brain That Wouldn't Die. It is my favorite. You can get so many points in this shot, or in this mode. She just shot it into the crypt, so it's the Deadhead family crypt. So she has released Uncle Bolthead, and you have to like bash him a bunch to make him go away. He's not worth a lot of points, but he's fun to hit in the head. So see, it's not really flailing. I don't like the term flail because it sounds reckless, but she's able to hit the shots just on the fly.
No, I'm flailing.
She said, no, I'm flailing. And we're getting our locks lit. Here we go, that's 2. And see, now it's pulsing green, so it's ready for the third ball. Ooh. So, and you also notice that like, that's a hit on the crypt there. And that's a vertical up kicker, by the way, on the right that shoots the ball out. Ooh, nice. So close. Oh, we got it, we saved it. Yeah. You're doing great, it's great. The other thing is on most machines, almost all machines, right down the middle. Good job. On almost all machines, if you've locked 2 balls, like they're gonna be there until you get the third one or the whole game is over. Oh, player 4.
Hi, I'm Jess. I've been playing pinball for 2 years. I'm going to show you, after listening to every pro tip David has shared over the last 2 years, the things I've retained to help build my skills. So what that means is he said a lot of follow the flashing lights, and if you can do the mode with the multi-ball, and those are all really good things to remember, but I want to get really good at using my flippers to control the ball, so I tend to just shoot the ramps, or if there's a particularly fun multi-ball, I learn how to do that multi-ball, and I just do that over and over and over. So I really enjoy hitting this center ramp for Elvira, and I like hitting the multi-ball that is not a ramp over here, because that's fun. Ramps are my absolute favorite, especially some of the new ones that have the loop-de-loops. Find something fun to hit, and go for that, and then go from there. Oh, do you want me to like hold it and hand it?
No, I don't hold it while you talk.
Oh, I'm not going to talk.
Okay. Yeah, also to build on that point, if you're able to hit ramps nonstop, again, the number one object, don't drain. So if you're hitting, it's going to ball save. So a lot of machines have a ball save. It gives you a few seconds where if it drains too quick, it'll give it back to you. But if you can just hit ramps all day, like at least it's not draining, right? And a lot of times it'll be worth. It might be there it is. Oh no, it's gonna. Okay, we gotta. So you'll hear a term called double danger. 10 minutes left. Thank you. You'll hear a term called double danger. Double danger is if on the new modern machines, at the first being reckless, like or hitting the machine hard, it'll say danger. That's a single danger. Then the second time is a double danger, because it'll danger, danger, and then the third time is just tilt, and your ball's over. So if you're playing or your friend's playing and you're like, yo, double danger, then they know, like, just be gentle. Hit the flippers like this. Yes, this is Manos. It's all B movie, semi-famous B movies. Manos, The Hands of Fate is what this one is. I don't know. This is all according to Elvira. Apparently, she thinks it's a B movie.
Can I shout one more?
Okay, we're gonna do some stuff. Here we're gonna do some live catching, right? Live catch, and then you can hit. The backhand is like going into the crypt, right? So into the crypt, right? Because it's the same side as my flipper. Let's make some stuff happen though. Come back. Okay, and trap up, right? So we're gonna go up the middle, and we're gonna do some live catches on this side. Up the middle, start a mode, do the stuff, shoot the thing, hit the light, and it's like. Pinball can be rinse and repeat for sure. I'm going to nudge it a little bit and do a drop catch there, just because I happen to know that it's like the safe thing to do out of the pop bumpers. And again, shoot the flashing lights, drop catch, and get up the ramp, send the other ramp, hopefully, yep, and then up the middle. Oh, missed the middle. Down the middle. Wrong middle. Player 2, I don't remember what order we're in. Yeah, we can answer some questions. I actually just saw your hand first, but then we'll move over to. I know Captain Bizarre.
Yes. he's a friend of mine.
I know of him. I don't know him personally. Dang, tilts.
And he's given me many tips already.
Oh, perfect. Nice.
We actually mentor a serial for animation.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Hopefully I'll keep my eyes open for him. The glasses and the hat. So the question is, I like playing multi-ball because it's fun and crazy, but if there a more controlled way of playing it, it's the best controlled way, other than maybe just trying to trap up like I was trying to do, and then like making some aimed shots, is the other kind of technique for stretching it out. Is it stuck again? There it goes. Is like as you learn playing a specific pinball machine, so what I could do is I could send the ball up the ramp because I know it's going to buy me a second or two. I don't need to deal with it. But I know it's safe. It's not going to drain. So I send one ball up a ramp, then I send another ball up another ramp, and maybe I can keep shooting the ramp with two of them and use the third to actually be shooting, like risking shooting. Yeah, it's like juggling. So just trying to send the ball somewhere where it can stay, not drain, and just kind of hang out as long as I can. And we got a multi-ball. Oh. So in this multi-ball, you shoot like the red shots. Ooh, look, all three on one. So now, so what she does there is she twitches the flipper to try to free one up and then get the shots made. She used a ball save that was on the right out lane. So to get our terminology, it's hard to see with the reflections. This is a slingshot, right? Because it slings your ball away if it touches it. Slingshot. This lane that feeds into the flipper, it's called the in lane. They also talk, there's one up at the top. Up here you can't see. They also call those in lanes. But we're going to call this is an in lane. And then right next to it, this is the one that goes away. So that's called the out lane. In lane, out lane, slingshot, flipper, light. Dang, this is really sensitive, but that's okay because we don't have long to go. Questions? I have hands. I kind of literally saw all of them shoot up in order, so I'm just going to go right down here, and then I'll get to you.
Terminology question. Is crypt a standard term, or is that specific to Elvira?
The question is crypt a standard pinball term, or is it specific to Elvira? It is specific to Elvira because it's the deadhead family crypt, so we shoot that. The pinball term for that would be a scoop. You have scoops where the ball actually drops into somewhere. There's a saucer where it's like a divot in the playfield that the ball sits and then gets like shot back out. There's vertical up kicker, launchers, things like that. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to go to the next one. There was someone in this, there, yeah. Yeah. The question is, are there any tips or tricks to tracking a multi-ball when things are going when things are going crazy and they're all flashing? No. It's just kind of practice. You do start you start building an intuition for like, if the ball bounces off this side thing, it's gonna I know the trajectory, it's gonna come this way. You start feeling that, but again, like, start with the flippers, get your flipper skills, and then you'll start seeing and learning the trajectory stuff. There was one more person in the line right over here. Was it you? Okay, sure, let's go with you. Nudging. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of nudging, tips, rather. There's a lot of nudging in pinball, but it's by feel. I remember when I first started, my friend Donovan, who's like top 50 ranked in Colorado, he nudged so well. And I was like, how do you know when to nudge? And it's just that thing where it's like an experience thing. Try it. Like, try things out. I'm going to stop playing for a second just because like, we're like seconds at a time, I think. But I just want to point out, so there are some targets over here that the ball can hit. There's some targets over here that the ball can hit. If the ball comes down, it's a very likely thing. If the ball comes down here and hits this target, it's going to go right out the out lane. So the best thing that I can do sometimes on some machines, try it out, is as the ball's coming down, it's going to hit this. Okay, I'm going to bump the machine this way and try to, right as the ball's hitting it. Because then I can, instead of it making a downward thing, I'm going more sideways. So then maybe I can get, you want to try to like get it out of that. You really don't want to try, you want to try to keep it out of the slingshots, because they like to just go bing, 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 meow, right? But so like, it's just a test it out and see per game. Blue shirt. That's another thing that's like an experience thing. The newer machines are more likely to let you play longer. The older machines aren't. Some machines, you're just in trouble from the beginning and you don't know it. Judge Dredd, Ghostbusters are both designed, and there's a couple, maybe Congo, some other machines, they were all designed by the same person, and he was just mean, and he, so we call this the flipper gap, right? It's the distance between the flippers. All of his machines, he put an extra, I think it's an 1/8 of an inch or a 3/16 of an inch of space to make it wider. And it's like, that's just rude, you know? But again, the harder the game, the more, the better it feels when you do really well. Red shirt.
Yeah, question for all of panelists. You guys kind of covered this already. What features make your favorite table your favorite table?
Oh, I'm excited. I really enjoy unpredictable machines that keep me on my toes. Twister is out on the floor, and it's really good. It's got a spinny bit in the middle that has a magnet that will grab your ball and then fling it somewhere, and you have no idea where it's going to go. Whirlwind. Twister? Twister? Twister. Twister.
I have the opposite taste. I like really predictable things that have zero chaos because I bring the chaos to the table. So the first machine I ever played was actually David Barber's machine, Star Trek, at Lyman's, which is here today as well. It's super straightforward. It's a great beginner-friendly machine that kind of is very clear what your objectives are at all times. Multi-balls are pretty easy to get, so it makes it really fun and rewarding. And then I also have a very toxic relationship with Ghostbusters. I hate it, but I love it.
I think what makes a good or an enjoyable pinball machine for me would be very well clearly defined objectives. Something like Elvira is very simple, but you're not looking at so many flashing things that you're overwhelmed.
for example, Godzilla, which is fairly new, couple years old. Awesome game, plays really well. The flow state is awesome, but there are so many different modes that you can activate or go for all at once. It's a little bit overwhelming. When you learn the modes, you can actually learn to like pick those things out and focus on them. But I think for a newer player, Godzilla would be really a lot. Yeah. Also, no strobes. Strobing lights are a bummer.
My recommendation and my love for especially new manufacturers, we're actually growing in the number of manufacturers that we have. Stern is the world's largest manufacturer. They are also the longest existing, but those kind of go hand in hand. But they, compared to some, they may not make the prettiest games, because Jersey Jack is the second largest manufacturer. They're not in Jersey anymore, which is weird. So I guess they're Chicago Jack. But Jersey Jacks are the prettiest games out there, but they're the hardest and least approachable to play. If you find a Stern, they're the most direct and accessible pinball machines. They're designed to help you figure out how to play them, and the code is deep. There's a lot you can do, but I think they're the most approachable and easiest to learn are Stern pinball machines. Jersey Jacks, super pretty, really hard to play or ever understand. And then Spooky Pinball, really cool themes, semi-quality. You can't put them in a bar and expect them to last more than a couple weeks, unfortunately. But at home, they do pretty well because you don't play them as hard as home. It's like going to MAGFest with a Spooky. It's going to break. But at home, you're fine. And then, what's the last one? Spooky, Jersey Jack. Stern's still the most approachable. Huh? Chicago Gaming, they're interesting because they just made their first game, which is Pulp Fiction. That's their first individual IP that they designed, the machine they came up with. But they started by making 4 or 5 remakes. So they took, and they're continuing along that line, but they took some of the most popular machines of all time and bought the rights to remake them. So like Medieval Madness, there's a Cactus Canyon downstairs that they remade. Originally Cactus Canyon, they were only 250 because Williams closed up their pinball division in the middle of manufacturing, so there were only 250. Someone was like, "Oh, I want more." So the Chicago Gaming was like, "Sure, we'll make more." So Cactus Canyon, Medieval Madness, Attack from Mars, Monster Bash, all of those have been remade, brand new. So those are the major manufacturers. I recommend Stern if you're new, because then you can learn your shots, and they are great. If you have any more questions, we can answer as we're packing up, but we're going to shut things down. Thank you so much for coming out today, and thank you to my panelists. What? What's your Twitch? DC Pinball? Pinball in DC is a Twitch channel that you can watch a local pinball streaming, especially from Lyman's Tavern. Thanks, everybody.